Okay, so I would like to start by just a bit of a reflection from our last call, our last session. We were talking a lot about mentoring, and I know there was a lot of information there. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys and see if there's any open questions, any clarifications, any comments, or any observations, whatever's on your mind regarding the last session. So we'll just spend 10 minutes just reflecting. Um, if there's something that you learned that you didn't, anything that comes to mind. And please feel free to put it in the chat as well. Or you can unmute and ask away. So any questions from last session? Any comments, observations?
You must have done a good job, Chris. No questions.
Or a bad job. Any questions, comments, clarifications? What about anything you guys have done this week about, or your thought process around your program? Any comments from anyone? And remember, this is a safe space. This is for you guys. So I just want to reiterate that. And I know it's very early there in the morning. Anything? No?
Hey, Chris.
Yes. Is that you, Monica?
Yeah, it's me. Hi, Chris. Actually, I wasn't there last week,
Okay.
but I guess I've heard about you in my previous stint at PhilDev,
Oh,
Philippine
yes.
Development Foundation. Yeah. So I work with Dado and with the rest of the guys there. Yeah. So I'm so happy to finally like see you and yeah mentor us in our startup and innovation ecosystem. But it's a pity that I missed your topic last week. But part of our goals right now, Chris, is to get mentors on board for
Yes.
our startup program. And perhaps you have like talked about this last week, but I just would like to get your thought on incentivizing the mentors. I mean, is that the way to go, or are there any, carrot that we can think of for them to be able to, get on board our program?
That's a great question. And we spoke about it last week. But first of all, thank you, Monica, for your question. And second of all, it's interesting because I was working with PhilDev to put together a mentorship program in 2015. And we started it by, and I think it's always great because, look, I'm not going to tell you, again, at the end of the day, this is your program, okay? So you'll decide what works for you guys and your students. I will just give you feedback from my experience, okay? Now, when we were working on this PhilDev mentorship platform, how I approached it was having mentors in Silicon Valley and having local mentors in Philippines. So we were working with 5 universities and we were creating a lot of onboarding for mentors in Philippines. These were startup founders that just wanted to help, right? They were on the ground, experience doing, running their business. And so we had a whole bunch of startup founders that wanted to help. Now, it was hard for me because I was in Silicon Valley and it's hard to, you also have to have someone locally on the ground doing it, right? A couple of the challenges were the interconnectivity, like just the connectivity was very difficult. It's really a face-to-face business. It's really hard to do it on, over the phone or remotely, even though all our activities are going to be remote. So you have to think about that, particularly with students, very young. So face-to-face is very important. Secondly, I'm just going to throw some things that I remember. Secondly, we had a pool of I think 10 to 20 mentors in Philippines, and then I already had 150 mentors in Silicon Valley that were in part of my programs. And I was running a lot of programs, and I had a company called Manila Valley at the time. So my business was to help Filipino entrepreneurs. And so it was easy for me to get mentors because I was running the programs all the time in Silicon Valley, and Filipinos wanted to help other Filipinos, right? So back to your question, in terms of incentives, I think the first thing is you play your Filipino hat on. You put your Filipino hat on. And you mentioned, look, we've got these amazing students in Philippines, our young generation, that we would love you to help, right? Have that story around helping, the next generation. I think that's the first thing. Secondly, we mentioned it last week, that you have to be prepared. Like your organization has to be prepared to provide all the information to the mentors. So it's easy for them. They don't need to think. Their expertise, what you require from them. You set it up, you provide all the materials, you know what they're looking for, you know how they can help. It's all ready for them. So when mentors come in, or you ask a mentor to come in to help one of your companies or your startups, your incubatees. Hold on a sec. I can never pronounce that properly. Incubatees, or let's say mentees, then it's all ready for the mentors, right? Because they just need to come. They have all the material if they want to read through it, and then they'll come in the session and they'll help. So you need to make it very, very simple. So there's a lot of preparation at your end. And the third thing is the matchmaking, right? Again, if you understand your mentees, what their needs are, you put together a plan, then you can find the corresponding mentors. And if you understand your mentors and what they're capable of, then you can do that matchmaking pretty easily. Yeah. The final thing, incentives. The final thing is, in terms of incentives, you need to again, talk to your mentors to find out what their motivations are for helping. Yeah. So a mentor might, just want to give back. They're Filipino, they want to help other Filipinos. Simple. Yeah. 2, they might want to be part of something bigger. So they see, oh, PhilDev, Dado, he designed the first chipset that's in every PC. I'd love to be part of an association like that. They're going to be at Google, whatever it may be. There could be a drive there, right? So having presence, thought leadership in the space or in the public domain is very important. The third thing could be that they want to actually advise. They want to find startups to be part of, or, and so if you match them well in their domain and in the space that they want to be in, then they might want to actually potentially be an advisor in the future or an investor. You'd never know, right? So you guys are that glue to piece it all together with the startups or the mentees and the mentors and the whole ecosystem, if you need sponsors and other things as well. Because at the end of the day, you also need to be sustainable. So that's the fourth thing. You might want to see if you can actually raise some capital or have some funding so that you can actually provide other incentives, whether it's monetary or whether it's gifts, like not gifts, but like Phil Dev merchandise. I did a lot of programs at Google Launchpad, and Google gave me a lot of Google merchandise, and people loved that. People loved wearing the Google Launchpad shirts, backpacks, and they gave me so much. So imagine if you guys partner with these big organizations that want to help your cause, they could also fund a lot of your activities as well. So finding out motivations of your mentors is very, very important. Does that help?
Yeah, it does so much. Chris. I'm no longer with Phildev now. I'm with USTP, the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines. Really, Phildev helped me a lot also in terms of my work there in the tech transfer office. And just to add, Chris, just so very quickly, Rona, Rona C, I know you know her, right? She also gave a topic on mentorship, Rona, and then she said that one of her motivations in mentoring startups, it's so funny because she said that she needs a pastime. And she also needs to know what are the what's cool about the young people right now. So she just
Right.
wanted to know. Yeah, so it's just so funny. You know, motivation is really the way to go when it comes to like, getting mentors on board.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the other carrots is knowledge, right? If you have within your organization something, and we talked about it last week, in terms of domain expertise. So you guys, one university is focused and the leader and innovator in agri-tech, or Web3, or whatever it may be, NFTs, whatever it may be, then that's also a carrot, because people love to learn. People love to be part of something big. Yeah. I'll show you a quick slide before we get into I'm just giving you a teaser, not a teaser, but like show you what I'm working on. But this is just a bit of a background. So I just want to show you one quick background here. Now, we are in this amazing time at the moment because I believe we're on the precipice of the next internet. And whatever that internet is, Web3, Web4, doesn't matter, right? But if you look at the history of what's happened in the past and how the internet was formed, it went through a technology hype cycle. Yeah. So in 1995, oh, by the way, can you guys see this slide?
We can see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in 1995 or thereabouts, when the internet was born, it was very new. And everyone was throwing all these different business models at it to see what stuck. And people made a lot of money. There was some companies and organizations and people, individuals made a lot of money. Guess what happened? Then it burst in 2000. And then people lost a lot of money. And then it ended up becoming the internet today, right? And whether you call it Web 2 or whatever you want to call it, this is where we are today. Now, if you believe that the next internet is powered by the blockchain, then we're on this right here. We're on this just early on in terms of the next internet. And everyone's throwing, again, all these new different business models at NFTs, at metaverse, DAOs, all these new stuff, all these new technologies. And they're trying to understand what this new internet's going to become. And so this is where we are. We're in this defining stage where there's a lot of opportunity. Now, where it comes back to us is important, because this is where technology really can help a lot of what's happening in the world today. And if you understand it more, you dig deeper, you guys be matter experts in certain areas, then people will come to you. Mentors would like to be associated with you guys. You know what I mean? So that's the point here is if you have a domain expertise, that could be a way of approaching it. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Just wanted to share that because I think that's very important because it's so much opportunity right now, what's happening in the world today. But it's also scary. It's a very, and when we're not going to talk about Web3 and metaverse NFTs, we'll park it for another time. But it's also scary because it's a wild, wild west. There's no regulations. And so, but it's important for you guys, again, to really focus on a particular area. Try to be a domain expert in a certain area. Okay, cool. All right. Let me share my screen again, and then let's get straight into it. My apologies here. Oopsie. Here we go. And boom. Let me just fix this up. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're in our second week. Hopefully you're still engaged and we're excited. All right. Is everyone excited?
Yes.
Okay. So,
The
okay.
highest number.
All right. Let's try it again. Is everyone excited?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. So we are going to talk about thinking big by starting small. We're going to go through, and I'm going to do it a bit different. I'm going to go through one of my companies, and we're going to go through the problem, the solution, the value proposition, etc. We'll talk about pitching, smart goals and personas, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. Okay. So welcome everybody. So every entrepreneur has the mission to bring change and to create impact. Okay, so we all here together in the trenches wanting to make an impact in the world. So according to Forbes, there are, couldn't believe this, and this is not my house, by the way, 2 billionaires worldwide. But in the meantime, every 10th person in the world lives on less than 100 pesos per day. And this is ridiculous. COVID has also made it even more difficult and has pushed 500 million people into poverty. And it's making the global development progress back 3 decades. This is insane. So how do we change this? Let's do it together. Let's create it. Let's do. And that's the most important thing. But before we proceed, we need to understand the realities that's happening in the world today. And you should always, have a look at what's happening. What's the behaviors? So if we look at this from a charity standpoint, charities are operating a related business. They're non-profits. They've got a purpose, around social impact. They work with corporations, and they ask for handouts, not handouts, but capital to make it sustainable to achieve what their goals are, right? And we'll cover this in a bit more detail. But the global agenda, and I don't know if everyone's familiar with this, but there's these United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, and there's these 17 goals, which is very important to understand. Let's just watch a very short video on this. Is everyone familiar with the United Nations Sustainability Goals?
Yes, yes.
All right, perfect, perfect. So what's important that I've found out is that in order to create impact, there are a few components here, but one of them is the economic sustainability. A lot of the times, you know, there is a lot of organizations that want to create a positive impact, but they're not even helping themselves first. So you have to help yourselves before you can help others. What I mean by that is, if you can create sustainability within your organization so you can exist in the future, which is a business model, then you can continue to do your work for a longer period of time. A lot of the times, the social impact or social entrepreneurship organizations, they're always running out of money because people have to get paid to do, you know, to do their work. And so we've moved towards what they call impact investing, where in order to create an impact, you need capital to run these organizations, right? So what's great is that you have the cause, you have your purpose, but one of the biggest issues is making sure it's sustainable. Okay, sustainable for your organization, but also sustainable for you know, who you're helping and impacting. Okay. So how social enterprises work. So here's social enterprise organization. You know, they're passionate about their cause. They you know, implement any type of innovation and technology. And I think this is really important as well. There's with Web3, and I know I didn't want to go into the topic, but there are different vehicles of leveraging technology to help, you know, create awareness and also to not just profit, but to continue to help with your cause. Obviously, the mission's there. There's a market need, and you know, it's really all about building that community because you can't just do it yourself. You know, that's why I have all these different companies where I have experts that are behind those companies that help. And it's all about that community so that we can actually achieve our goals. I remember in Silicon Valley, there was a lot of organizations there that wanted to help Filipino entrepreneurs and Filipinos. The problem was there was so many organizations, and all these organizations, everyone wanted ownership. And it was funny because I had a list of like 1,000+ organizations in California, in Silicon Valley alone. And these are Filipino organizations. And what happened was when, for instance, the chairman that started, or the person that started, sorry guys, if you're not talking, can you please stay on mute? So what happened was a lot of these organizations would start a company, and after their tenure as the president or the chairman or CEO, they would leave, they would have to leave, but they would start another organization similar to the previous one. And it was crazy. I also remember that I was part of, and I was leading the tech group for Soma Filipinas, which is south of Market in San Francisco. And I was trying to get everyone, I was organizing these events, and I was trying to get all these different organizations to come together, but it didn't work. It was very, very difficult. And so the key here is when your community is very, very important. And if you can figure out how everyone that is part of your community, because everyone has a role to play to make this successful. If you're able to support and make sure that everyone that touches your community gets value from it, then you're going to be successful. I think that was one of the major challenges when I was working with all these organizations. There were just too many cooks. Everyone wanted to lead, but no one wanted to do, right? So if you can figure that out, I think that's one of the biggest pieces. And then secondly, as I mentioned, it's about the budget, right? It's not the profit per se. It's really about making sure that this is sustainable so you can continue to do your amazing things that you guys are doing. You need to figure out how to pay for it. So social enterprise is defined as a business that has specific social and or environmental objectives, serving as its primary purpose. This is pretty straightforward. They seek to maximize benefits, make sure it's profitable and financially sustainable business model. See, this is what we were talking about. Look, at the end of the day, if there's no business model around it that can continue to power what your activities, then it may just be a short-term organization that would run out of money and won't be able to continue to do the work. So it's very, very important to figure out a sustainable business model. Let's have a look at one impact social entrepreneur here.
Socks. We all wear them, so we all spend our money on them. But do you ever think about how that money gets used afterwards? No, I didn't either. When you buy a pair of these socks, this company gives one pair to a homeless person in the UK. How brilliant is that? That's because they're a social enterprise. They take the profits from you buying the socks, and instead of giving them to shareholders, they invest them in helping out people who really need it. What a great idea. If only there were more businesses like that. Well, there are. There are nearly 80,000 social enterprise businesses in the UK. They use their profits to make a difference to people's lives where you live and all around the world. Remember, we have a choice about where we spend our money and then how that money gets used. We can choose to support businesses like this to make a difference on issues that matter to us. And it's not just socks. This is a lovely scarf made by a company that supports women coming out of sex trafficking, and footballs. This is helping with employment in African areas. Secret Pillow. This is helping women in cut-off isolated areas. This is beer supporting prostate cancer. And now this is a wash bag made out of fire hose that supports the fire service. This is coffee supporting homelessness. This is the big issue. Well, it's the big issue. This is chocolate supporting cocoa farmers and their communities. That's helping orphans. This one's Welsh. And, well, just click the link.
And I just wanted to pause there because it's really important. There is a lot of organizations, and we all intend as founders to help others, right? But at the end of the day, it's a lot of people just talk and there's never impact. Yeah. So you need to figure out, one, make sure that it's, obviously a cause that you're passionate about. It's a big enough cause that you can help support. And then secondly, that you can have a sustainable model so you can support it. Any questions so far? We'll continue, but I just wanted to check if there's any questions. And you can add in the chat here as well.
Actually, I have a question, Christopher. So this is with regards to the structure, or I think the framework that the university here, in example, in our university, we use as a way of doing extension program. So I think it's also somehow a lower version of a social enterprise. But for us, in the TBI, so we are actually aspire to encourage the university to come up or to shift from the usual structure or framework of a community extension or extension program to a social enterprise. So my question is actually, it's what's your thoughts, or how can you, or what advice can you give for us so that especially in the university, on how we can move forward from, since the framework actually of the extension program, it's more on a direct offering of services to the target customer without actually having the meaning having the market and also the profit. So it's more on all the budget or all the money that we use to spend is coming from the government and also from the university. So somehow, though we have a mission, but I think it's really not, I mean, it's really not sustainable as what you have discussed so far.
Yeah.
So what can you, yeah.
I'll give you an example. In 2016, a good friend of mine is a professor at Foothill College in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. And he said to me, Chris, 10 of my students at the university raised X amount of dollars and went to Mindoro in Philippines, identified two problems. They didn't have clean drinking water and they didn't have much food. So they went there, they built a bakery and they built a water filtration system. And he said to me, Chris, none of them were Filipino. And I'm like, what? So here are these students raising some money, not even Filipino, and then going there on a mission. And they went there twice. Then they built a well, they built other stuff. And these are just students, right? They raised some money, they raised money to get there, or they paid themselves. They helped the community. They went there for, I think, like 2-3 weeks or more. And they really impacted lives. It was amazing. And so at the time, I brought in my buddy Jimmy, who had a platform, and we had a social entrepreneurship platform. And so our approach there, Melbert, was, whoops, hold on a sec. I'm just, hold on a sec. Our approach there was to figure out, okay, one, how do we motivate the kids? Two, how do we actually help them fundraise more than what they could get? And then three, obviously help them get there with their mission. But if we help them learn and also earn so that they can actually go there and create an impact, then they'll be able to create an impact, right? So what we did was, we, instead of knocking on corporate doors asking for social responsibility funds, CSR funds, we actually gave them different ways of making money. So we worked with some organizations where they would get commission and this and that. So we just figured out different innovative ways for the students to earn in a different way. Yeah. And now they would also learn to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. And that's what social entrepreneurship is all about. The impact at the end, you know, part of the United Nations Sustainability Goals or any other mission. But at the end of the day, it's their journey as entrepreneurs. And so we were enabling that. Okay. And you don't really see, like, you know, these are the things that are like deeper than just all the noise and public stuff that you create. Because if you can impact a life, one, and help them in their journey as an entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur, that's amazing, you know? And then two, but what's even more amazing, imagine there was 10 of them going on a mission and then building a bakery, water filtration system, well, and just like helping communities. This was amazing. And I can send you guys the videos of what they did in Mindoro. It's beautiful. So I think to your question, look, there are other ways that you can potentially look at funding. But if people see what you guys are doing, they might just want to contribute. You know, you never know, right? So if you tell your story about what you guys are doing and how you're impacting and helping communities, that's the start. You know, it was very difficult. That was the other thing that we helped them with, is we created videos for them about their mission and what they did. So the second time they were raising capital, or sorry, funding for the mission, they ended up having these thought leadership or videos to showcase. So people were then inspired and like, wow, this is so beautiful. Do you know what I mean? So these are things that maybe you guys can do. That is something you can do. You don't need to raise tons of money. You don't need to build all these big programs. You just need to figure out the basics, right? These basics are teaching entrepreneurship, inspiring them, helping them with, you know, guidance in terms of creating thought leadership, and so that their message is out there, right? The impact that your students are doing. And that's what actually helped us, or helped them at the end of the day. And we didn't do much. It was actually the kids that did all the heavy lifting. It was crazy. We were just in the background seeing how we can help. And we helped them a tiny bit. They did all the work. But now it's sustainable, right? And they go on missions all around the world. And this is one university. So I think hopefully that helped you with the answer.
Thank you, Chris, for the input.
And I'll have to find the video. I can show it to you guys. Actually, I have it here. Do you guys mind if I share the video for 30 seconds? Okay. Seems like it's just me and you, Melbert. Okay, let me show you my video. And this is the Mindoro mission. Just very quickly, 30 seconds. So that was 1,300. They affected 1,300 lives in Mindoro, 9 students. And so Jimmy, my business partner, created the video, and then to document what they were doing. That was actually Jimmy's. He's also Filipino. That was his song he created, and he created that video. I know it's really fast, but we just helped them. We just packaged a very basic video, and you guys can do that as well, so that people understand what you guys are doing, you know, this impact that you can do. And that's, yeah, they affected 1,300 lives. So I think it was amazing. Hopefully that was worth sharing. Let me just continue. Okay. All right, we went through this. So one common mistake, scared of money. Yeah. You know, I don't even like fundraising. So, and I've raised millions and millions of dollars, but you know, it's obligation, it's a tough thing, but it's important. Like you need to be sustainable. So how do we start? So think big, start small. This is very, very important. And Professor Yunus mentioned this, and he's the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. And, you know, you start affecting 3 people, then it'll become 30, then 300, then 300 million. But you have to start small, because if you start too big, it gets too overwhelming. And I've gone through this many times. You have a big mission, but if you don't do small wins and achieve small goals, then you know it's very tough. you know, you'll always want it to be perfect and you'll never achieve it at the end of the day. These 9 students just wanted to raise enough to go there, build a water filtration system and a bakery, and that's it. Then they'll think about the next step. Then the next one, they actually built a well and others, right? So start small, think big. Work on your business idea and create social impact. So a lot of the times you start by identifying what's the problem, the solution, and the value proposition. I want to take you through one of my other companies, and then we'll come back to this problem. Actually, you know what? Let me take you through this first, and then we'll come back to my other company. So problem. Most of the time with problems, and I totally agree with this, it has to be a big enough pain point where people's hair is on fire. They're like, no, I wish I had a solution that could solve this. So I need X to solve Y, right? As simple as that. But it needs to be a pain point, okay? If it's not a big enough pain point, people might not take that first step. They might not download it. They might not contribute. They might not, you know, if it's not a big enough pain point. Then you bring a solution. Here you come, you're able to, and this is important when you talk to your mentees, identifying these problems or opportunities. And then here is your solution. What you come with your solution, and it has to be unique. There is nearly 500 million entrepreneurs created every year, 1.35 million tech entrepreneurs created every year. There is so many companies created. So there'll be a lot of competition. So you really need to find something that's very unique and differentiating. A way of approaching that is to figure out your value proposition. So what is your promise to your customers? How can you give them value? You know, this is very, very important. Is it convenience? Is it cost reduction? Is it saving their time? Is it providing a better quality product? Is it providing them with something that's trendy or fashionable right now, today? Like there could be other value propositions as well. But also tying it to, you know, one or more of the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. You know, so at the end of the day, you're there to help on an education standpoint. You know, with Silicon Valley headquarters and its similar mission with Academy of Entrepreneurs, it's really about democratizing the support to all entrepreneurs. I want to help everyone. I want to help as many people as possible. And I want my platform to be free, right? I want to pay people to learn, right? But I also want to help. I want to help people. I want to eliminate as much as I can. You know, the street kids in Philippines. I want to help provide drinking water in Philippines. You know, it's a lot more than just. Okay, sorry. Guys, if you're not talking, please unmute. Oh, sorry, mute yourself. So this is very, very important. Let's stop there for a second, and I'm going to show you one of my other companies. Okay, this is one of my other companies. It's a company called Studx, and we are on the bold mission to bring back a species. Okay. Now, one of the biggest problems is poaching. And that's why this poor guy, Sudan, the last male northern white rhino, died in 2018 because their species were hunted for their horns. Okay. And this is the last male. But in our team, we have Tumelo Ramaphosa, who's a 4th generation farmer. We have Dr. Mornay Delaray, who was actually the one that euthanized Sudan. He was taking care of him. And he's a veterinarian scientist who was the first to clone a cow in Africa. and is a reputable veterinarian surgeon scientist around the world. So it's a big problem, poaching, but there's a lack of awareness and a lack of funding. So what we did is we wanted to marry this old profession of breeding rare and endangered species with the cutting edge technology of today, blockchain, and moving towards the metaverse in the future. We want to end extinction, but first we will work, our scientist, Dr. Mornay, will be working with the southern white rhinos. Once he's successful in impregnating them, then we'll work on the last 2 females left in the world. And that's our path to bringing back the species. We have assets and documentary to showcase that. So this is one of my companies. Now I want to pause right now, and I want, please turn on your cameras, and we're going to do an exercise. So, and you can add to your chat as well. So, and this is very, very, very basic. So if you look at Studx, what I'm doing, what is the problem that we are solving? Very basic. What is the problem we are solving? And thank you for turning on your cameras, guys. It's great to see you all. What is the problem we are solving? Anyone? And I'd love to hear from a lot of people that haven't talked before, please. Extinction. What about extinction? Ending extinction. But what is the problem before that? Because we've honed in on one problem. Big problem that's happening with a lot of species. Poverty. Poaching. Yes. Poaching. So one of the biggest problems is people are poaching the horns and the rhinos die, right? And then they use it for medicinal and other stuff. And a lot of the farmers run out of money because they have to employ security to take care of their rhinos. And hunting is a big problem as well, because farmers also need to sustain their business. So they sometimes even let, these hunters on their farms to hunt their animals because they need money. It's crazy. So yeah, there's a mix of poverty as well. Not poverty, but lack of funds. And also obviously poaching is the big problem. Improper way of poaching, yes. Now, what is the solution Studx are providing? What are we providing after you saw that quick overview? What do we do?
It's the innovative way of bringing back the species. I think it's more on the innovation or bringing back the species.
And what type
or to maintain and help the extinct animals to thrive with the innovation that you're going to inject.
Yes. Okay, so the technology, the science, that's definitely one, because we have the DNA material of the last male northern white rhino. So once Dr. Mornay is successful with the southern white rhinos, then we're going to work with the northern white rhinos. So definitely the science. What else is part of the solution? Marrying old ways to new edge technology. Absolutely, Marlon. Biotech. Absolutely. Yep. So that's one aspect. What I didn't mention is we're also leveraging technology, which is the blockchain. And so we are really looking at ways of, what was the problems? Obviously the poaching, but I mentioned the funding, right? For the farmers, even for Dr. Mornay to do his procedures. Funding is big, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, where we're going to raise capital through the blockchain or through the new technology way of doing it. And so instead of knocking on doors with philanthropic funders, we are going to open it so that anyone in the world that owns crypto can actually be part of bringing back a species. So imagine that. So anyone in the world, you can be in New York, you could be in Iceland, you can be anywhere. You can contribute.
Sodium, NaCl, potassium chloride. Salt and sodium. NaCl. NaCl. Sodium chloride.
Yeah. So yeah, so we what was I saying? Forgot now because I was trying to mute someone. Solution. Yeah, so we are using technology so that anyone can be part of bringing back a species. Now, what's our value proposition? What do you think is our value proposition, and to who? What do you guys think? Who are we adding value to? What is our value proposition? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is the life of the animals.
Okay. Yeah.
According to Miriam.
So we're helping with the animals, the environment, absolutely. Community. Yep. So yeah, there's not only the northern white rhinos we want to bring back, but we also want to preserve the 35,000 species that are on the brink of extinction as well. So it's a big mission. Very bold, very big. Whole world. Yeah, so the value proposition is really to, one, create awareness of what's happening in the world, right? And it's going to particularly help the farmers because they're the ones that are actually, you know, trying to preserve the animals. Yeah, and a lot, there's farms that actually breed these rare and endangered species, but it's not sustainable, and they're running out of capital, and it costs a lot even on the security side just to protect them, right? Feed them and everything. And so how are they going to make money? So they've got a good cause, they've got an amazing cause, but how are these farmers able to sustain it? You know, so that's why they let hunters sometimes come to their property. They have to sell meat, right? You know, they're animals, and it's very difficult, right? So this is where sustainability has to come. You need to figure out ways of helping yourself before you can help others. The farmers can't help themselves. They'll have to run out of their business, have to close down. And then where are the animals? You know, they have to go, you know, they can't take care of the animals. So this is a big problem. So back to the value is to the farmers as well, to help them. It's to the community, well, to life of the animals, absolutely, because we are there to help all species and to help animals, in the world. So yeah, cool. All right, thanks for your feedback, guys. That's perfect. All right, let's continue. And if you want to learn more about any of these things, please let me know. Happy to share more information. And if you want to be part of anything, happy to include you. Okay, let's continue. All right, so now we're going to module 2, which is pitching. So not every pitch is the same. Every business is the same. Every founder is every business is different. Every founder is different, right? So Annalise is a founder, I'm a founder, but we're totally different. But you don't need to be me, you need to be the best of you. Okay, that's very, very important. So what is an elevator pitch? Anyone? Put in the chat. What is an elevator pitch? Put in the chat or unmute and you can answer it. What is an elevator pitch? A short pitch? Absolutely. How short? Typically 20 seconds. I like it. 45 seconds, quick presentation or overview of your business concept. Absolutely. So an elevator pitch is typically, a business is talked into existence. Hold on a second. 30 seconds. So think that you're in an elevator, you meet a potential client, investor, or anyone, or employee, and you only have 30 seconds in the elevator or less to talk about your business in a very short and concise way. So this is very important because a lot of the times we don't have an attention span. Look at this session. An hour and a half is a long time. It's very difficult. You guys have your business, your university to run, and you've got so many things on your mind. It's very difficult. So it's very important to figure out how you can communicate your business in a very short period of time. So if you had 30 seconds, what would you say? Think about what aspects of your business or idea you would share if you only had 30 seconds to talk about it. What are the key takeaways that you want your audience to take home? And maybe it's only one thing in your 30-second pitch. So we are going to do an exercise. All right, cameras on. Beautiful. We got some cameras. Amazing. Jessa, thank you. Hi, guys. Vera. Okay. So what I want you guys to do, raise your hand if you have a business idea already. Do you guys have any business ideas? Okay, we do have one, Marlon. Okay. All right. If you don't have a business idea, that's okay. That's okay. Think about your passion. Okay, one thing. And I remember I had it written down previously. I remember someone said last week, karaoke. I remember someone was talking about dancing and all these basketball. We had a few people talk about basketball. So think about your passion. It could be anything, cooking, it could be farming, agri-tech, it could be anything. Think about your passion. And I want you to think about, I want you to pitch your passion in 30 seconds or less. This is very difficult, okay? Very, very difficult. So if you don't have a business idea, I just want you to pitch your passion, okay? And you can structure it any way you like, okay? We're just gonna do any structure goes, okay? I'm not gonna start because then you might think that there is a structure. I don't wanna start. We're gonna ask you guys to start. And you can pitch your passion or your business idea, but you only have 30 seconds. So I'm timing it. And when you hear the buzzer, you have to stop. Okay. All right. Who is first? Who is first? We should get some random people that have not got their camera on. Okay, let's call Jacob Polito. Jacob Polito.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi,
good
Jacob.
morning.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. How about you?
Fantastic. Okay, So you have 30 seconds to pitch your passion or your business idea. Do you mind turning on your camera?
Sure. Give me one bit.
No problem.
Is that okay?
Perfect. Okay. Do you have a passion in mind?
Yes, I do indeed.
Okay. Ready? You got 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
My passion is to read and imagine stories. So every time I lie in bed, I would always think of new scenarios, new plots of how I would progress my story, of how I would improve my characters, like how the main character would experience a heartbreak, or how my character would experience a heart-jumping joy to the point where
All
he
right.
would do any.
Stop. Now, how was that? So did anyone understand what Jacob pitched? His passion on reading. Anyone? Jacob, how did you go? Your 30-second pitch. I know you're on the spot. So first of all, thanks for being the first to come up and do your 30-second pitch. Okay, so what do you think of your 30-second pitch?
I would actually think of my 30-second pitch to be a little rough on the edges, because it was very much on the spot. So I didn't have any idea or any plans on how to make it proper. So, and because of that, I don't think anybody would have understood what I'm trying to convey.
Yes.
Because it was so sudden, and I don't think that I managed to get my idea properly through to the people who are trying to listen.
Absolutely. And I know I put you on the spot. I was meant to, because this is what happens in real world. You just meet someone, they want to know, okay, what do you do? You've got 30 seconds to impress them. What are you going to say? Yeah. And how do you communicate effectively? Next time, Jacob, think about one message. Like, what's one message? Tell me about one message about reading. Just one simple line. What's the most, why are you passionate about reading? One thing.
Imaginations can take you anywhere.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. I really love that. So imagination takes you everywhere, can take you anywhere. I love reading because your imagination can take you anywhere. Then you can say something else. I love that. See that? How beautiful that is? And that's not come from me. That's come from you. That's beautiful. Then you put together a bit more meat to the bones, right? So what are you going to do with that imagination about reading? You know, what is it that you want from the audience to leave with so that you can have the next meeting? Do you know what I mean? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Awesome. I love that, Jacob. Okay. Round of applause to Jacob. All right. We're going to randomly select Christia says Napili. Oh, disappeared. Christia, just disappeared. Therese Flores. Therese, are you there, Therese Flores? Or Christia says Napili, you're back there. Kirsten Murray. This is a great time to practice. Kirsten Murray. Wow, everyone's camera shy. Therese, Kirsten, or Christia? Come on down. We're only pitching passion, not a business idea. All right, is anyone ready for their pitch? Just raise your hand. I'm telling you guys, at the end, I remember I was teaching students, and at the end, they all wanted to pitch. They loved it. They loved the opportunity to try it. So it's good to get out of your comfort zone. And you guys have to inspire, also get others to do it. Your mentees to be pitching all the time. They need to be pitching their startup all the time. So if you practice your pitch, you can actually teach it to them, because then you'll say, oh, I remember I was pitching it. Oh, my first time, it was terrible. But then I did it more and more and more and more. And then now you're better at it. So this is your time to start. Pitch anything. Okay. Who's up? Who's up? Brave volunteer. Who's up? Pitch your passion. Come on. Okay, Riddell. Thank you, Riddell. I was getting lonely here. All right, Riddell, let's pitch your passion.
Okay,
All
time
right.
is in. Yeah.
Hold on. Remember, you got 30 seconds. We're practicing. All right, ready, go.
Okay, my passion is about farming, and I want to establish the different agroforestry system for food production, conservation, and the same piece of land for students, farmers, and entrepreneurs. This will become a show window, and this will become a learning site for agriculture and forestry. Our income will be coming from our products, services, and of course, entrance fee for those people who will visit the area later on. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, 2 seconds left. Okay, thanks for doing that, Riddell. Okay, I don't remember anything you said apart from farming, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay, so why is that, Riddell?
What I'm saying is that I am going to establish a demo of different agroforestry system for food production and conservation. This is for the students, farmers, and entrepreneurs. I would like to become a show window and learning site for agriculture and forestry. And the possible income will be coming from our products, our services, and entrance fee for those who are visiting the area.
Okay, great. Okay, so one thing, you were slower after the second time, so I could understand it. It's not about packing everything in like 1,000 words into 30 seconds. It's not about that. It's about communicating your message in a very succinct way. Because if you can't communicate it, people won't understand it, then it's lost, right? So try to figure out what's your key message there. So you talk about a demo, you talk about conservation window. What is the key thing about farming? What are you doing? What is the key thing? Just tell me in a couple of words. Just like when Jacob said, your imagination can run wild with reading, right? Give me something like about farming. What's the key thing that you're doing?
This is an agroforestry system, integration of agriculture and forestry in one piece of land.
What does that mean? Integration of agricultural.
For a while, say, I have a call from Chad for a while lang.
Okay, no problem, no problem. All right, who's next? 30 seconds. Riddell had to take a call. Miriam, hi Miriam. Okay.
Good morning. I would like to try so I can learn and
Please. Okay. 30 seconds. Are you ready?
yes.
Okay, go.
Good morning. This is for the poultry growers and integrators who need to efficiently and easily monitor their poultry productions and performance. We'll use a poultry monitoring system to automate manual and tedious data collection for poultry operations. and to optimize business operation, unlike the existing manual management and monitoring of operations. Thank you.
Okay, nice. I like that. Okay. So it was great because you identified the audience in the beginning. Okay. So then people that would understand that would say, yes, tell me more, right? So if I was in poultry farming or poultry I had not livestock, poultry farming, then I would definitely gravitate towards you. The only challenge though, Miriam, and if I may, can I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
Okay. The only thing is you're segregating yourself just to poultry farmers. And so if you had someone like, just say an investor that was interested in anything farming or agriculture, if they don't know anything about the poultry business, they might not pay attention. Yeah. So maybe think about expanding it a bit because so that it's a broader message, and then hone in on what you specialize in. Because if you think about it, your system could be used not just for poultry farming, but any farming, right? Could be pig farming, it could be duck farming, and whatever else it could be. Your system that you develop, the monitoring system, that's the key, right? Do you know what I mean? So maybe think about broadening. But I really like it because it was very simple, very targeted, but maybe that you need to figure out a balance, because if you don't know your audience is into poultry farming, then maybe broaden it. But if they are into poultry farming, then definitely the focus was amazing. So great job. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very clear, not too much information either. All right, who's next? All right, Ruthie.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then you guys can teach your students this as well. All right, Ruthie, are you ready?
I guess, yes.
Here we go, 30 seconds, go.
Sometimes life can be so difficult after a long, tiring day of our work, and we just want to be entertained. We just want to sit back and relax. And sometimes social media provides us some tools that can allow us to escape from the reality. But theater, which is my passion, is a reflection of life. In theater, we can understand reality and we can be understood. So sit back and relax and enjoy a theater.
All right, good job. How did you go, Ruthie? What did you think?
I actually had it somehow planned, but what I actually said are words that are not planned at all. I just said random stuff, so I was surprised that it didn't go as planned.
Okay.
But it's interesting.
Well, you know, I love the storytelling. You know, you started with a really nice story. Maybe, can I offer a recommendation? So you might not need 2 references in the beginning, right? Because you mentioned it twice. You said about, you know, you're bored, and then you said something else. You only could just say the first thing, right? And then go straight to, you can escape with theater. And then what was missing is, okay, how do you escape? What is your solution? Yeah. So the value proposition was there. You know, you enticed me with the storytelling, but at the end, I didn't know what you're offering. Like, how do you actually help me? I'm bored through theater. So sorry, I'm bored. How do you help me through theater escape my boredom? So does that help?
Yes, thank you for that. Yes.
Awesome, but great. I love the storytelling. It's really, really important, the storytelling. Okay, anyone else? Just checking the time here. Monica, okay, just give me 1 second, Monica. Oh, so we have 6 minutes. I totally lost track of time. Okay, Monica, please. Are you ready?
Hey, Chris. So I'm imagining you and I in an elevator, right? So
Okay.
anyway, is your timer starting already?
Yep, ready, set, go.
All right. So, hi, Chris. I heard that you've got some friends who love spicy food. So, I just started a company. It's called La Pagana Foods. We are manufacturing premium line of food appetizers, which could add a splash of flavors into your otherwise boring or bland food palette. Our market has grown by 50% the past year. We are looking for partners to scale our company and bring our product into the market. So, here's my business card, Chris. Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay, Monica, great job. Okay, I think you should teach this the next course. Like, you guys are just too good. I love that, Monica. You very simple, succinct, love the statistics, 50%. What else? There was a call to action at the end. You talk about having partners, and then you gave a card. Very, very well done. Great job. Okay. Let me just quickly check because I just lost track of time. Okay. So you guys will get the slides, so don't worry. And it's important, I think, to really have this interaction because you guys are going to be interacting with your mentees. Yeah. So it's very, very important that you practice this in a safe environment like this, right? So the more you do, the better you'll get at it. When it comes to pitching, and not just the 30-second pitch, but a 3-minute pitch or whatever it may be, the more you do it, it becomes what I call muscle memory, and it will just come out, because you've practiced it so many times. You're the matter expert here, and it will just automatically just flow out of your mouth. Okay, so the more you do it, the better you get at it. Okay, so tell your mentees as well, they're always going to be pitching, right? Always going to be pitching. So I can talk about Studx. We're on a bold mission to bring back a species. Our scientist has the DNA material of the last male northern white rhino. We're working with the southern white rhinos. Once that's successful, we'll work with the last 2 females. We have a documentary scheduled with Netflix, blah, 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 right? So you start to put it together and then you can just free flow and then things will just come out. But remember, it's not about putting a lot of information in a very small, concise way. It's about getting the key information, right? The nuggets of information that's important, the value that you're going to bring to your audience. So always think about that value you'll bring, okay? And then obviously it's the storytelling, and it's your storytelling. And I mentioned it earlier, but my wife always says it's very important to do you, the best of you, right? So it's not Chris pitching, this is you pitching. So make sure that you tell your mentees that they just have to become the best of them, right? Practice, practice, practice. Help them with the structure, help them practice. The more they pitch, the better they'll get at it with your help. Okay. All right. So what we did miss in the other slides, and I know we only have 4 more minutes, is we had a few other activities about 2-second pitch. 2-second pitch. About, let me just quickly scan this and we'll cover it in the next session. So just give me 1 second. But we went through the 30-second pitch. We talk about proof of concept. It's very important to validate your concept with real users if you can. Yeah. So we talked about this last week. I remember I was mentoring students in Philippines, and he was talking about the business model for his software he was going to give to retailers. And he was saying, yeah, I think it's going to be this amount, this amount. I'm like, well, how come you don't know? You should leave now, go across the road, and talk to a customer and find out what they would pay. Just say, excuse me, I'm a student. Here is my new business plan. Do you have 30 seconds for me to ask you some questions? And so you can validate it from real users or ask real users. Yeah. So it's very important to bring your concept to life and ask real customers. Experiment. It's easier to sell on Facebook Marketplace. I think Gumtree's more in Australia. Crowdfunding is very time consuming, so you use these other ways. Step 4, it's really about, objectives, and we talked about start small, right? But it's important to actually document specific, measurable, attainable targets that are time-based and are relevant, right? A lot of the times when we're founders, we always want to do too much, right? So with Studx, as an example, we have a bold mission, but I have a plan for the next, every month. I know what we're doing. We're filming in April. We've got people coming there in June, and I know in May what's happening. Then we do a drop. So I have my plans already for my companies, what we need to do. They're very specific. They're extremely measurable. They're attainable. So you want to make sure that you can achieve it, because when you don't achieve things, then you lose that, not confidence, but the motivation to really get it, to continue. You need to have these small wins every now and then. Obviously, it needs to be relevant, and you always put a time base on it. It always has to be measurable, short, mid, long term. So setting goals, again, very specific. 30 emails in 7 days, or get 4 inquiries in the next 24 hours. We had an amazing pitch earlier. Monica and I think Ruthie, or was it Miriam? Miriam, talking about the audience. Persona is very important, okay? So to identify who is your customer and what type of customer. The important thing is, and it's good to go through this exercise of writing down what your customer persona is about, but it's important to actually, like, again, with the user, the student that I mentored, it's important that he puts together a persona of the retailers, right? Be very specific, understand their motivations, understand their challenges and their frustrations, write it all down, and you put together a persona about a real customer. Yeah, if you can. That's very, very important. Okay. So that's what we would have covered, and we would have gone through a persona exercise. But yeah, it's time's up. I think it's an hour and a half. So thank you very much, guys. Prepare your pitches. I'm hoping for the next week we're going to do some more pitches, and then yeah, just remember that this is for you. So it's great if we can get some feedback. We'll do a reflection the next week, see what your thoughts are, and we can change it up. If there's too many slides, if we want to do more activities, this time is for you guys. I want this to be valuable, because time's your most precious asset. Annalise?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much. That was fantastic, and I'm sure everyone found it to be very beneficial. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys, keep safe. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Annalise.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.